Electricity powers the modern world, from the lights in our homes to the phones in our pockets. Where would we be without it? However, electricity doesn't reach everyone. 30% of Nepal's population doesn't have access to electricity, of which most live in remote areas. Villages and towns such as Manang suffer from blackouts which can last up to 15 hours. Growing environmental concerns have spurred global organizations to switch to renewables. Nepal itself has a trade deficit due to importing fuels from abroad. With great hydropower potential due to the country's steep gradient, there have been efforts to electrify remote areas utilizing these sources. However, efforts have slowed down. We chose to look at Manang, a remote town situated in the valley of the marshy Yangdi River at an altitude of 3,519 meters, which suffers from long blackouts as mentioned earlier. During winters, rivers dry up, thereby nullifying hydropower as a resource. The people of Manang need a reliable source of energy to light their households during these periods. In order to fulfill these needs, we challenged ourselves to design a motor which is sustainable, economically and environmentally friendly, to provide electricity to Manang. To be sustainable, the product had to meet the following criteria. It has to produce electricity for a long period of time. It would have to use a renewable resource, produce no harmful waste, and be manufactured from materials that could be sourced within Nepal or neighbouring countries. The product had to be easy to fix and use, so that local villagers could easily fix the product. To be economically viable, the product had to be fundable, and to prevent redundancy as Nepal's grid expands, the product had to be grid compatible. Our solution uses hydroelectric power in a system which can be turned on its head during winter and used as a wind turbine when water sources dry out. The body of the system, made from lightweight and strong aluminium, contains air pockets to allow it to maintain buoyancy in the water. The blades of the turbine are detachable. The system is provided with aluminium blades for use as a water turbine and plastic blades for use as a wind turbine. The turbine is attachable by an extendable pole, which can be elongated during wind turbine use. A hook and a rope similar to one used in climbing is used to hold the turbine in place. As water flows, the blade begins to rotate, or in wind, as the wind blows, the blade rotates. This in turn rotates the rod attached to the turbine. At the top of the rod, a magnet is placed between a coil, which rotates as the rod rotates. According to Faraday's law, when a magnetic force and a dynamic force interact, they produce an electromotive force. This simplifies to a magnet rotating between a conducting wire or coil produces an electric field. Since the magnet is rotating between a coil, due to the motion of the blades which rotate the rod, which then in turn rotates the magnet, an electric current is induced in the coil. This electric current in the coil is connected to a battery, and hence the electric current charges the battery. Finally, the battery can be used for electric power. Manang, situated close to a river, would benefit greatly from our design, as components such as turbines, conductors and load controllers, which would be required for our design, can be manufactured in Nepal. Substantial amounts of power can be produced by Nepal's wind and water currents. Our design produces 3 kilowatt hours. A 100-watt light bulb requires 0.1 kilowatt hours, so our device could power 3 light bulbs for 10 straight hours. Subsidies from the UN, the World Bank and the AEPC make our product affordable for villagers of Manang. The hydroelectric power is already quite predominant across Nepal, so the product is not a strange new concept. We considered other fuels to power our design, such as biomass, solar power, and hydrogen fuel cells. Biomass is detrimental to the environment through the emission of methane and requires deforestation. Solar panels prove to be too expensive and not efficient or reliable for our purpose. Hydrogen fuel cells, similarly to solar power, were very expensive and require the import of materials to build a hydrogen-based design. Wind and water are free renewable fuels, with water turbines having an efficiency of 80% and wind turbines 40%. So does our design meet the criteria? As shown on this slide, it ticks all the boxes.